Hi, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, Texas on Saturday, December the 8th, and welcome to our video commentary. Well, it was on December the 8th, 1980, that John Lennon was shot in New York City. It happened very late at night, and I think it was about 10:30 or 10:45 Eastern Time, and he was rushed to a hospital. My understanding is that he was pronounced dead on arrival when they reached the hospital or so late that night. Now, most of the country, interestingly enough, most of the country learned about John Lennon's assassination watching the NFL game of the week or the Monday night game of the week that back then was on ABC. And the people watching that heard Howard Cosell break into the game and say that John Lennon had been pronounced dead, shot, and officially pronounced dead when he got to the hospital. I actually didn't hear about it until the next day. I was actually in Mexico City that night, so I had gone to bed early, was not watching the game, or had fallen asleep actually watching the game. And then the next morning, I heard about it on the radio. And of course, it was quite a shock to most of us. I mean, John Lennon was someone we had kind of grown up with, you know, the Beatles and so on. Now, when the Beatles broke up in 1970, Lennon had a solo career for a while. It was not, I was not crazy about the songs that he recorded during that time. I thought there were really, nothing was of the quality that he and McCartney did with the Beatles, but nevertheless, they were, you know, I bought some of his albums and they were, most of the songs were okay. Now, in 1975, he kind of walked away from the music business, and for the next 4 or 5 years, nobody heard anything about John Lennon. I think he was either retiring or whatever he was doing. He was not recording. In 1980, he did come back and recorded the album called Double Fantasy. And on the day that he was shot, one of the songs from that album was shooting all the way up to the top 10, and that was that song, Starting Over. The album Double Fantasy is actually a decent album. It was one of his better ones. And on that album was that song called Woman that became also a bestseller out of that collection of songs. But interesting, you know, when you read about John Lennon, some people say that he died on December 9th, or sometimes you read that he died on December 9th, and I think that's because he was officially pronounced dead maybe the next day, or December 9th, because I think by the time they got him to the hospital, it was very close to midnight, and maybe when they officially pronounced him dead was December the 9th, not December the 8th. But nevertheless, you see it both ways, December the 8th and December the 9th, and I guess we'll just have to leave it like that. But John Lennon, of course, was an amazing influence on music, and for many of us, as I say, the Beatles we grew up with, and it was really amazing. I couldn't believe it when I heard that John Lennon was shot in New York on this night in 1980. Thank you for watching. We have all of these on YouTube, on Twitter, and on my blog. And if today is your birthday, happy birthday. Bye-bye, everybody.